the truth about becoming fluent in English. It's so important because I think for many of you out there, that is what you want to do. That's your goal. You would like to achieve English fluency. So today, we're gonna have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. We're gonna have a heart-to-heart conversation about how you can become fluent and the truth. I wanna talk to you about the truth because I think there is, a lot of information out there that might mislead people, and perhaps they think it's a little easier than it really is. Quickly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English, which is all about helping you trying to achieve your fluency goals with vocabulary lessons, pronunciation lessons, grammar lessons, a little bit of everything when it comes to learning English. So let's just begin with the first truth that I have for you, which is you are not going to become fluent in just a few months. Now, of course, I think it's possible that you can greatly improve in a few months in a very short period of time. And also there are some people out there that are very gifted when it comes to language learning, and they may be able to achieve a high level of proficiency in a very short period of time. For me, that's not possible, and I imagine for many of you, it's also not the same. And I tell you this because when I decided that I wanted to learn Spanish, and that was one of my goals. I wanted to become fluent. And when I started, I don't know how I got this impression, but I thought, you know, if I could live in a Spanish-speaking country, if I'm studying all the time, if I get a lot of exposure to the language, probably in a few months I could become, maybe I could become fluent. And when I actually tried this, it just wasn't the case. So I think it's important that you have realistic expectations. It doesn't matter if you are a beginner learner and you're just starting out, or perhaps you're right in the middle of your language learning journey. It's important to have realistic expectations because that's really what's going to help you move forward. Because if you're able to set short-term goals and long-term goals and work toward that, the ultimate goal, which is fluency, you're just going to be getting closer and closer and closer. Because truthfully, this is not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to start learning English or any other language for that matter and become fluent overnight. That is not realistic. But if you continue to practice, if you continue to learn, and you continue to improve by building vocabulary, improving your listening, practicing, speaking, you do all that, then again, you're going to be working toward the ultimate goal, which I think is very possible for you to achieve, which is English fluency. The next truth that I have for you is perfect is the enemy of good enough. Now, this is my version of the quote. I think the original quote is attributed to Voltaire, the famous French writer and philosopher, and I think it's more like perfect is the enemy of best, something like that. Now, I think that if perfect is a part of your, mindset, if you think that's one of your goals, my English needs to be perfect, I would just get rid of that. I would try to get that out of your mind because personally, I think it's going to hold you back. I think it's always great to strive to improve, to get better, to constantly improve your language skills, but you need to realize that I think you're always going to make mistakes, and that's perfectly okay. I make mistakes in English. I think I make quite a few mistakes. To give you an example, I grew up in the southern part of the United States, and sometimes my wife will catch me saying this and she'll tease me a little bit. Sometimes I say like might could. And when people say something like that, it means the ability to do something. I might say, this afternoon we might could go for a hike. And it's a little strange, it's not correct, and yeah, it's a mistake, but it's perfectly fine. My English is good enough. It's good enough to communicate with others. I can share my thoughts, opinions, and ideas, and if I make mistakes, it's no big deal. I move on. And I think you need to consider this when thinking about, where you are at. Is my English good enough? Because if your English is good enough to carry on a conversation about a variety of topics, if your English is good enough to read a book without constantly having to run to a dictionary, if your English is good enough to watch a movie and you understand about 90% of it, well then, in my opinion, I think that your English is good enough well, that you can consider yourself fluent. The next truth that I have for you, it's my version of a popular expression. You may be familiar with the expression, and that is fluency is in the eye of the beholder. Now, the real expression is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It means that beauty is subjective. Maybe what I think is beautiful, you might not think is beautiful. Fluency is the same way. Fluency is subjective. Just because I think that you might already be fluent in English, maybe you don't feel the same way about your language skills. And really, there is no one exam that you can take that is just going to tell you, okay, yes, you have now achieved English fluency. Congratulations, let the party begin. The truth is that the only one who's going to be able to determine whether or not you are fluent in English or any other language is yourself. I do think that there are certain maybe indications, certain things that you can look for to kind of tell whether or not, well, you have achieved fluency. I just mentioned before that maybe you can watch a movie and you understand 90% of it. That may be one indication of English fluency. But you are really the only one who's going to be able to determine whether or not you feel fluent in a language. And I really think that the more comfortable and confident that you become engaging in English, I think you're just going to know. You'll know whether or not you have achieved your goals and whether you feel that you have a level of proficiency that you would consider yourself fluent. So I hope you enjoyed our heart-to-heart conversation about English fluency, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if any of this resonates with you. If you enjoyed the lesson, please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.